The Tampa Bay Rays baseball team will play their 2025 home games at the New York Yankees Spring Training Ballpark in Tampa as the city of St. Petersburg decides what to do about Tropicana Field. The Tropicana Field dome was heavily damaged last month by Hurricane Milton. A damage assessment presented to City Council this week estimates that it will take $56 million to repair the stadium in time for the 2026 season. The city owns the stadium and is responsible for repairs. Mayor Ken Welch said in a statement this week, "We anticipate that the majority of the repair costs incurred by the city will be covered by insurance and FEMA, making this approach both beneficial for community spirit and fiscally responsible for our community." The decision on whether or not to move ahead with the repairs rests with the City Council. Still up in the air is the future of the plan to build a new baseball stadium and redevelop the surrounding gas plant area. Last week's elections changed the makeup of the Pinellas County Commission, and now it appears stadium deal opponents make up a majority on the commission. Both the city and the county have until the end of March next year to issue bonds for the stadium project. If the county commission votes not to do so, the current deal approved in July could fall apart, and a vote could come as early as this Tuesday. So, Richie, is it a mistake? The mayor says the money's going to come from FEMA and from insurance, but is it a mistake to spend $56 million on a stadium that's going to be torn down in just a few years?
So, I've been on this show previously stating my opposition to subsidies for sports teams and all those reasons why. And we're kind of in a similar situation here, but I think one thing that's different is that the city is the landlord here. The city has responsibilities to maintain this stadium, and the team can take action if we don't maintain those responsibilities. And so that's kind of the pickle that we're stuck in right here, even though it's going to be torn down soon. I think one thing that really needs to be put up front and to the public is that there has to be some sort of trade-off or negotiation with the team if we were not to rebuild it. And I think we need to publicly have that negotiation, find out what it would really cost us to not rebuild it, because we don't have that information right now. And then decide, does it make sense to rebuild? Does it make sense to let them play somewhere else for a few years and settle over it? Because we have obligations to them right now, and that's one of the reasons I'm opposed to these stadium agreements, is because it puts obligations on us to maintain an asset that, while maybe important to our community, takes a couple of steps back and takes a back seat right now to repairing people's homes and all of the small businesses that are having issues right now. And so it's unfortunate that we're spending so much time on this, but it really is a big thing that we're going to have to overcome, and we're going to have to make sure that we do it in a public process.
Will 100% of the cost of fixing it, if they decide to fix it, will 100% of the cost be covered by insurance and FEMA?
No, the first around $25 million, the first $25 million will have to be paid by the city. And then after that, insurance will cover about the next $25 million, and then FEMA help will kick in for a large portion of anything after that. And so we are going to be sitting with a bill of at least like $25 million as of right now.
That's a lot of money. Barbara, I know some on the Pinellas County Commission are upset that the Rays are going to play in Tampa because they want the team to stay in Pinellas for whatever period they're forced out of the Tropicana Dome. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the move to play in Tampa?
Well, I think that it is not going to play well with the county commission because the tourist development money that is used for the county's portion of this, it doesn't come out of Tampa, and so moving the team over to Tampa, who knows? Maybe they haven't even talked to the county commission. Maybe they don't even, they won't come back. It could be that this, there was so much talk about them going to Tampa. So I think that sending the team over to Tampa and not having discussions prior, I know the county commission has been trying to talk to them. Kathleen Peters has called them to try to find out if they would play over where the Phillies play. And they haven't been conversant.
Chris Latfell, I saw a quote from him saying that taxpayers in Pinellas County are being asked to spend $1 billion for the team in the next few years.
Yes, and I think too that the priorities of so many of the residents have completely changed, and we've just seen the infrastructure for what it is. The infrastructure in Pinellas County, in St. Petersburg, we have so much work to do that is going to take so much untold millions, billions. We don't know how much money it's going to take to try to get our community healthy from an infrastructure standpoint. And people are not worried about going to the game.
Yeah. Michael, I've seen so much on social media, people in St. Petersburg say, look, my home was destroyed by this hurricane, and the city is talking about spending millions on the stadium.
Well, as Richie pointed out, they're in an agreement, so they have to meet the obligations of that agreement. And if that agreement says, you know, $56 million needs to be spent to get it in shape, I think the city is probably looking at it from a legal standpoint. So is there a fairness issue? Maybe, but they do have to meet their obligations. But I would say, keep an eye out for the reaction of the Rays. So far, we haven't really heard from the Rays.
Yeah.
And where do they stand? So if Tuesday rolls around and the county commission meets and they even delay this vote, that is going to be detrimental to a deal getting done. It doesn't take a no vote. If they delay it until December, mid-December, that's going to be a huge problem for this deal.
Could the stadium be built a year later than what's being envisioned now?
Well, if that were to happen, you're asking the Rays to pick up more of the cost, and that's something that, you know, where are they on this right now?
Yeah. Ray, you're a season ticket holder. I got to ask you, what do you think about the move to Tampa, first of all? Because you go to all the St. Pete games.
It's better than the suggestions that they move to Nashville temporarily or Miami. It's within driving distance at least, but I think it's creating complications, really. I think the Rays just announced that they're going to be playing at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. I think that was really probably not a very smart move, that they should have talked to the the county commission, to see how much they preferred them to play either at the Phillies or at Al Lang. I mean, they chose Steinbrenner, I think, because it's the largest. It's 11,000 seats as opposed to 7,500, I think, at Al Lang. But you could easily put in temporary seats to build Al Lang up to 10 or 11,000. You have the same situation, and you wouldn't have this appearance of the kind of betrayal of Pinellas County and sort of a lack of respect, really, for the fan base and for the people who are footing the bill for the new stadium.
I'm wondering if people will come out in the heat and the thunderstorms and the lack of air conditioning in any open air stadium.
You know, it's going to be a shock. Yeah, we're very spoiled. There's no question
so,
about
Richard,
that.
what final word on this? Do you think the Rays will step up? Is there any indication that they would come forward and maybe offer something to help the city?
I think right now we're still in a world of unknowns. We're starting to learn a lot more, but I think when it comes to this deal going forward, the gas plant agreement, you still have three groups that have to approve it. You have to have the bonds issued by the city, which I'm not too worried about. I mean, I don't support them, but my colleagues do, so that's the direction we'll probably head in. And then the county commission, at this point, I just can't say, and the Rays themselves as well, and I just can't say what they're going to do. They're going to lose revenue from not playing in their stadium for at least one season, and I'm sure that revenue was going to be relied upon to build the new stadium from their end as well. So I think we're still kind of up in the air right now.